Today we're going to talk about the rock cycle, and our focus question is what are the key processes in the formation of rocks? So, as we talked about, there's three different types of rock: igneous, metamorphic, and sedimentary. This diagram shows the different types of rock as well as some of these stages in between and how to get from each type of rock to the next. So you'll notice that if we start at magma, if cooling occurs, it becomes igneous rock. If that then melts again, it can go back into the form of magma. But if this igneous rock undergoes heat and pressure, we can go to metamorphic rock. But if the igneous rock undergoes weathering or erosion, it can create sediment. Let's pretend that heat and pressure are applied and it becomes metamorphic rock. Once it becomes metamorphic rock, it can either undergo melting and become magma again, or it can undergo weathering and erosion, just like the igneous rock, and become sediment. So one thing to notice is that anytime weathering and erosion occur, we end up with sediment. Anytime melting occurs, we end up with magma. So if we have the sediment and it is compacted and cemented, layers and layers of sediment under pressure, we get sedimentary rock. If heat and pressure are applied, that becomes metamorphic rock. So one thing to notice is that if heat and pressure are applied to any type of rock, it becomes a metamorphic rock. If compaction and cementation occur, it becomes a sedimentary rock. So there's a few things that you need to associate with each type of rock. With igneous rock, you want to associate this idea of cooling. With metamorphic rock, heat and pressure. And with sedimentary rock, you want to associate compaction and cementation. So as you can see from this diagram, you have igneous rock in the upper part. From that, if temperature and pressure are applied, it becomes metamorphic rock, just like we had talked about. Anytime temperature and pressure are applied, it leads to metamorphic rock. If erosion deposition are applied, it leads to sedimentary rock. So you'll notice that both things that say erosion deposition lead to sedimentary rock. And anytime melting occurs, it can go back to the igneous rock, where if it then cools, the magma cools, it becomes igneous rock. So you'll notice those same keywords when working through this diagram. The igneous rock has weathering and erosion, or if the metamorphic has weathering or erosion, we get these sediments, which then become sedimentary rock. If heat and pressure, like the yellow arrows, are applied, we get metamorphic rock. And if any type of melting occurs, we get magma, which if it then cools, it becomes igneous rock. So same things that you can notice here. Any of the arrows that say heat and pressure are pointing towards that metamorphic rock. If that metamorphic or igneous rock are uplifted to the surface and erosion and weathering occur, this is where we can then end up with that sediment that becomes that sedimentary rock. And you'll also notice that anytime that there's an arrow pointing down where there's melting occurring, it becomes magma again. Go ahead and move on to your worksheet. You have both a word find as well as a rock cycle comic strip to fill out. Once you're done, complete your exit ticket.